Hello again, everybody. It's me, Marcus, and I'm here to review some stuff. Today I'm going to review the song Stigmata by Grandson. So it's been a while since I've listened to some Grandson on here, and I feel like it's long overdue for me to get back to him. Because honestly, he's become one of my favorites. So this was a request, not just me listening to Grandson because I want to, but I've purposely been staying away from his music because so many people like to see me react to him on my channel. So, hey, I'm pretty happy to finally be getting to listen to something a little bit different from him. So, I kind of know what to expect going into this. I've heard a lot of Grandson songs. I like a lot of Grandson songs. And so, just hope that this keeps that same high level of intensity and high level of just quality to it. So, as always, if you would like to make a request, just leave a comment down below. I will get to it. My list is getting so long. I've mentioned before that maybe when I have some time, like during the summer, I may do some sort of marathon where I just sit in my chair for many hours on end and we just rifle through some of these songs. So we'll see, because there's enough songs here to basically last me almost the rest of the year, honestly. And plus, with you guys requesting more every day, it just it's starting to get a bit of a backlog. But I'm gonna keep knocking out as many of these as I can. So let's keep doing it. Anyway, this is Grandson. This is Stigmata. Let's listen. Yeah. Okay.
How do you get in the mind state to kill? How do you get in the mind state to kill? I need a feel of violence to bust up the silence for real. Traumatized thinking to hide how I feel. The truth is alive and well. It's underground, living on the Wi-Fi still. Don't buy all the lies they sell. When the Black Hawk flies, head right for the hills. They put a hole in the back of my head, called it suicide. Woke up with these holes in my hands from the day I was crucified. You decide if you wanna ride, can't stop us when we unified. I woke up with these holes in my hands from the day I was crucified. Stigmata! You decide if you wanna ride, can't stop us when we unified. I woke up with these holes in my hands from the day I was crucified. Stigmata!
Yeah, it's about what I come to expect from Grandson. He's got the very kind of politically charged lyrics, and he's got the very sort of dubstepy sound. The instrumentation was very good, and I like that. Oh, sorry, stretching. I like that he really he kind of knows. He kind of keeps the pace throughout the song, but then he always kind of slows it down before he kind of drops the hardest hit on you, basically, which I really like about his music because it kind of gives you that very satisfying payoff at the end of a build-up. So, pretty typical from what I expect. I would say this might be one of his weaker songs to me, just based off of my initial reaction. It doesn't really give me like the same just pump that like Overdose or Blood and Water or Oh No does. It's not as heavy of a hitter in my opinion. Maybe that's just because I've heard a decent amount of Grandson at this point. But anyway, let's talk about those lyrics. In fact, thanks to Grandson, I've learned a new word, stigmata. So I knew what stigma was, and I assumed that stigmata kind of came from that word stigma, and in fact, I was correct. Apparently, stigmata is the pluralization of stigma. And it refers to two things. So stigma is like when someone is looked down upon for a particular like quality that they have or something that they've done before. For example, there's a stigma that comes along with being homeless, right? Many people look down on the homeless, and so there's a stigma on ex-felons, right? They've been to prison. They're looked down upon in many ways. So that's what stigma is. I guess stigmata is the pluralization of that. So I guess it's when you have multiple things that people look down on you for. But apparently it also means from the Christian tradition that it's marks corresponding to those left on Jesus' body by the crucifixion, said to have been impressed by divine favor on the bodies of St. Francis of Assisi and others. Interesting. So I obviously knew about the first definition of stigma. I did not know about the second definition. That's pretty interesting, and it makes sense why he called the song Stigmata, because he mentions that he's got holes in his hands from the time he was crucified. So anyway, let's read those lyrics. It says. It says, how do you get in the mind state to kill? How do you get in the mind state to kill? I need a feel of violence to bust up the silence for real. Traumatized, ain't gonna hide how I feel. This really reminds me of Tool's Vicarious, how he says, I need to watch, because I won't die from a good, safe distance. Yeah, that song. I need to watch things die. I was trying to remember the exact line. I need to watch things die from a good, safe distance. Vicariously, I live while the whole world dies. It kind of reminded me of that. Like, I need a feel of violence to bust up the silence for real. I think it's kind of similar to Tool saying, like, hey, we very much live off of that violence that we see every day. But I also agree with him in that first question he poses. How do you get in the state of mind to kill? Because I don't know. I mean, I don't think... I say this now, and again, you never know until you're in a situation that forces you to choose. But I honestly don't know if I could ever take a human life. I mean, I feel bad enough stomping on bugs. I usually try to toss them outside. Like, I'm very much someone who does not like death in really any form. And so it's I agree with that question. How do you get in the state of mind to kill? What must happen in a person's life or go through a person's mind for them to get to that position? But at the same time, he says, I need a feel of violence. So he might be answering his own question there, is that some people just need that feel of violence, and they're traumatized. Ain't gonna hide how I feel. Which I think is interesting. So the song is to me, definitely, obviously about violence. But I think it also sort of goes beyond that. So when we see... the truth is alive and well. It's underground, living on the Wi-Fi still. Not sure about this one. The truth is alive and well. It's underground. So I'm assuming what he means by the truth is alive and well. The truth is out there. but it's underground. What we see is not the truth. The truth is hidden, I guess, which I assume purposely hidden. Don't buy the lies that they sell, and that kind of goes in with that. When the Black Hawk flies, head right for the hills. So, interesting. So it's like, don't believe the lies they're telling you. They will, the government will come and kill you if they need to. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. Just because, Granson's songs are always politically charged. So I think he's saying, he's saying, it takes a lot for someone to be able to kill. It takes that need for violence. It takes the traumatization. And then there's also, I guess, the government who is trying to hide the truth, and they will straight up kill you to hide the truth. I think that's kind of what he's saying here. Anyway, we get the chorus. They put a hole in the back of my head, called it suicide. And so we've heard many times. Obviously, most people aren't going to shoot themselves in the back of the head to commit suicide, and there's been reports before of police claiming that someone has committed suicide when they've clearly been shot again in the back of the head. So this is an implication. This is sort of a reference to events that have actually happened in real life, and he's obviously being very those they, and by they the government, will straight up send their people to shoot you in the back of the head and just said that you committed suicide. Woke up with these holes in my hands from the day I was crucified. And so this is where it goes back to that title of Stigmata, because that's kind of what it means. And so typically when we talk about Jesus being crucified, obviously it's him being nailed to the cross. But in modern day terms, the term crucified is kind of used to mean punished for something that you didn't really do. If someone were to be like, hey, you crucified me up there, it's just they're saying hey, you kind of blamed me or punished me for something I didn't really do. And so I wonder if he's saying that he feels like there's a stigma against him. So I think there's a double meaning here. There's a stigma against him because wrongfully, there's wrongfully a stigma against him. He feels like he's been crucified. I don't know. You decide if you want to ride, can't stop us when we unified. I woke up with these holes in my hands from the day I was crucified. Stigmata. This one's interesting. This one's not as maybe clear cut as some of the other Granson songs are. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure here. There ain't no hero to save the day. Figure to pave the way quicker to save another day. Away before we gotta pay the grave digger. It's all up to us to deliver. So he's saying no one's gonna save us. We have to kind of step up ourselves. I walked in the valley where the snakes they slither. Interesting. I know there's a Bible verse that says something about walking through the valley of death or whatever. It's probably referencing that. This does seem to have a lot of Christian allegory in it. And then I know snakes, the snake represents the devil, I think. Yeah, I obviously, I'm not too brushed up on my religious knowledge. So I walked through the valley where the snakes they slither. So he goes through the hell itself, where the rain gets thicker and the pain disfigures. Who's gonna rise when saints pray to sinners? The truth won't die when they pull that trigger. I like that line. Who's gonna rise when saints pray to sinners? It makes me think of government and how so many people in the government use, I guess, Jesus and God in general to sort of justify their beliefs, even if their beliefs are sometimes really shitty. And so it's kind of saying, I think he's kind of saying who can really save us when we sort of idolize these people who are not very good. And even the saints, even our religious leaders are saying that these politicians who want some really shitty things are sort of praying to them to make change. I mean, I don't know, that might be a bit of a stretch, but knowing Grandson, it could definitely be part of what he's saying. The truth won't die when they pull that trigger. So this is something that I think it's been echoed in Rage Against the Machine songs. Is you can't kill like a movement. You can't kill free speech. You can kill a person, but as long as the movement lives on past that person, then you didn't really kill what they stood for. You know what I mean? Which I feel like it's been echoed, like I said, in music, TV shows, movies have kind of all mentioned that same sentiment. Truth won't die when they pull that trigger. They put a hole in the back of my head, called it suicide. Woke up with these holes in my hands from the day I was crucified. Stigmata. Burn me down, strip me bare, watch me drown. I don't care. Drag your nails across my mind. Still I walk sanctified. Sanctified is like a word that means like holy, I guess. So he's like, you can basically drag my name to the mud. You can beat me down. You can do all the things that you do to disenfranchise people, but still I'm here following, I guess, the path of light, following the right way. The truth won't die when they pull that trigger. Stigmata. They put a hole in the back of my head, called it suicide. I woke up with these holes in my hands from the day I was crucified. Stigmata. So yeah, I feel like I definitely might be stretching some of these lyrics here, but just knowing Grandson, he does talk about very politically charged topics, and I'm trying to like piece it all together here. And there's definitely a very strong Christian allegory here that some of that just goes right over my head. So I'm interpreting it the best way that I can. But let me know what you guys think about this one. Lyrically, 2 thumbs up as always for Grandson. I like the way he writes. He's got a very interesting way of kind of hooking me into the lyrics, and obviously, just like, I don't know if you guys saw my Rage Against the Machine Know Your Enemy review, but like I talked about that one at length because there's a lot to talk about in a song like that. I like that about Grandson, is that there's a lot to talk about in his lyrics. I'm a lyrics guy through and through. I love lyrics. So boom, 2 thumbs up there. As far as the instrumentation goes, it's pretty standard. As far as the Grandson song goes, the guitar was nice. Kind of the beats, drums that they had were nice. His voice always sounds great. Like I said, he really knows when to kind of slow it down and then just to hit you with that climax. I just realized everything I did was off screen. He knows how to kind of get things here and then bring them here, like that. So, really like that about him. Instrumentally, though, I will say this was one of maybe the least memorable ones that I've heard. Again, maybe that's just because I've heard Grandson's many of his songs and kind of gotten used to his style, and so maybe I don't really appreciate just kind of the standard Grandson algorithm as much, if that makes sense. I guess I'm wanting something a little bit more interesting, or something that's really going to hold me tight and drag me in here. So I still liked it, though. I give 1 thumb up there. As far as replayability goes, just like every Grandson song I've heard so far, it's definitely going to go on the playlist. And I can see myself listening to it again, but I will say it's maybe not one that's going to get replayed very often. There are other Grandson songs that I like more that I'm definitely playing on a more constant rotation. This one, yeah, here and there. So I'll give it a thumb up there. So this is overall a good song. I enjoyed it. Just wish that maybe he'd give me a little bit more, something a little bit different to kind of show his chops. But lyrically, man, this one blew me away, I will say. So that's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy the music as much as I do, be sure to go support the artist. Listen to their music wherever you can. One place you can check them out is in my Spotify playlist. That's down in the description. You can check it out. It's got a nice little mixture of different songs, and yeah, it's pretty cool. If you want to support me, just, this is not your first day on YouTube. You know what to do. And that's it. I'll see y'all in my next review. Bye.